I wouldn't even return their email for
Gabriel Spaulding is a professional video editor who's worked with a multitude of corporate and commercial clients, producing some of the highest level content for different companies and working on YouTube channels with over 84 million views. With his talent expanding from production to editing and motion graphic design, he's built up his career and business over the last 15 years. So, to help professional online editors learn when is the right time for editors to make the leap into full-time editing, how to navigate the ever-changing landscape of rates in the editing industry, and what are the steps to finding clients and building a powerful network. Well, I called him up and little did I know that he would reveal some next level advice that any video editor who's serious about making money needs to hear. Like the real reason that editors on YouTube are broke and what they have to do to make a career working in the industry. So, when did you first get into video editing?
I edited way back in high school. There were many years between that and when I started editing again. And that was right after Steve Jobs returned to Apple and they released the first iMac, and my wife sort of pushed me to charge people for videos. And that's when I started to do corporate video. I ended up doing a lot of sports and fitness videos for some reason. The biggest company I worked for that has a YouTube presence is a company called Essential Tennis. And they're the world's largest online tennis training company. Hire me to shoot and or just edit the material. And then they would do all the uploading. They would do all the tagging and everything like that. So it was more of the creative side. I started with them like after their first year. So I sort of grew as they did.
How did you go about figuring out your rates as an editor?
I mean, that's changed a lot over the years as well. And it's also dependent on the size of the client. When I started out, I just needed to get work. So you kind of compete based on price. So I would do things for, $25 an hour. After a couple of years, it was 50 and then it turned into 75. And then I ended up doing a lot of motion graphics for a marketing company. And they offered 125 an hour for the same work I was charging 25 for. But I still had local clients. I would do the 25 or the 54. So I guess if they started at, $25 an hour, 8-hour day, that's like $200 a day. Now I charge anywhere between $600 and $1,200 a day, depending on the job.
So back when you first started, what kind of stuff did you do to market yourself? And how did you grow your editing business to find clients?
From time to time, I attended different events where other professionals were there, which I should have done a lot more of. And I would recommend people do more of that if you're starting out. Find communities of like-minded people. If you're like a natural-born salesperson, which I am not, you can get clients virtually from thin air. But if you don't have that natural sort of innate ability, then yeah, it's that networking. Almost all the work I get is networking. It's all because I've worked with people who vouch for me and vouch for my work, and through them, I continue getting work. And because they're large teams, it's not just one person referring me, it's potentially dozens of people referring me. Even if you're a solo operator and you are working with your client, if you are difficult to work with, they're not going to refer you either. So you need to be a good team player, whether you're a solo operator or literally on a team, because your reputation will affect the rest of your career and the opportunities that make themselves available to you.
How can new editors improve their skills? And what kind of skills do you think are absolutely essential today?
If you're just trying to get experience, edit as much as possible. It doesn't matter what the footage looks like. Use your iPhone, use your Android, shoot something and cut it together. Your tens of thousands of hours of experience editing over time will get you really comfortable with lots of different styles. Nowadays, if you're getting hired to be an editor, they're going to want some motion graphics. So knowing the basics of motion graphics, the basics of sound mixing, I think you'll have a tough time if you can't do that nowadays. One
of the biggest things that I see, especially with viewers that watch my videos, is a lot of them are really unsure when to start charging for their work, and even if they should. So what would be your advice to those editors?
There are going to be a lot of people who just enjoy editing. They do fun projects with their friends, but it's not necessarily their career path or their, the thing they aspire to do or to be. For those that are just starting out, for whom this is their career path, I would say start charging immediately. This is frowned upon for some reason, but shoot somebody's wedding. It's not as glamorous, but it's incredibly difficult. And you learn a lot from doing that. Find a local business who doesn't have a big marketing budget, doesn't have a big online presence, and see what you can do for them. Getting videos on your reel helps you get more clients. That said, I would shy away from anyone who says, because it'll be good for your reel. If they're not willing to pay you anything, then they're just there to take advantage of you. And there's sadly a lot of that.
Yeah, I think that's still the biggest friction point. And for me, the best way that I got over it was to just charge at least something and then just go from there. But having said that, I do get a lot of editors also saying they have a ton of clients, but they want to increase their rates. So how do I increase my rates, but also keep my clients?
I suppose it depends on how frequently you do work for that client. I've had a number of clients where I might only do 1 or 2 little videos for them every year. So if I don't hear from them that often, they don't really know what else I'm working on. They don't know how else I've grown. As I increase my rates and then they crawl out of the woodwork and call me back, I'll say, okay, great, I'm happy to do this for you. However, my rates have increased a little bit and this is why. Unless your rate increase is an absurdly high jump, if that client is any good for your business, they'll agree to it. You're raising your rates because you're trying to advance your career and create more opportunities for yourself. You can't make yourself dependent on low-paying clients for that. I think every time you try to push for the next thing, there's going to be a level of risk involved. If you raise your rates, you're going to have to risk losing one of your clients. At the same time, if you've got multiple clients and you raise rates successfully on a handful of them, but you really like the other one that can't afford your new rates, there's no reason you can't hold on to them. Those clients will probably never meet, and it's honestly none of their business what you charge different people. There's a leap of faith. You just got to stick to your guns, really. And probably whatever you are thinking of raising your rates to, go higher. Fear is going to dominate many of your choices, and that's the surest thing that's going to slow you down in the pace of your career is fear. So if you're afraid to charge what you think you're worth, you're never going to get paid what you think you're worth.
You know, I'm really glad you said that, because that is something that I've preached for so long. Okay, I've got an example scenario here that I want to see what your thoughts are on it. Okay, so a client has come to you with a project. They want you to look through 3 hours worth of footage. They want you to build and assemble a 10-minute edit with a story. They want subtitles, motion graphics, music, and sound design. What would you charge for something like that, and how long would it take you?
I'd probably budget, 1 day for me to go through all the footage and assemble a basic edit. Day 2 to refine the edit, and day 3 for the mix and the graphics. If the graphics are really involved, I might do a 4th day, even though I could potentially do this whole thing in 2 days. I don't want to penalize myself for being fast. So I'd probably budget 4 days and then a 5th day for changes. I'd probably budget like $5K at this point if somebody wanted me to do that.
So you wouldn't do that work for $40?
I wouldn't even return their email for $40. I wouldn't even entertain the notion of doing that type of video.
But the thing is, though, right, there are editors that are charging that much money. So what would you say to editors that are charging $40 for that kind of video? Does it make it difficult for other editors to find work?
Yes. It seems to me if your passion is video and you want to make more money, that YouTuber is not the place for you. I would say literally any other type of video work is going to pay more money than that $40 for all that. And the side effect of that is that becomes the accepted rate. And now nobody doing that kind of work for YouTubers can make a living. Oh, well, this channel pays 40, so now I'm going to pay 40, and this other channel pays 35, and none of that is a living rate. If you're struggling, do what you got to do. If that's all I had right now, I would do it. And I hope none of my answers make it sound like I'm cocky or have an ego. I mean, there are lots of editors who charge a lot more money than I do, but my rates have gone up significantly since I first started, and I sympathize with everybody who needs to grab onto whatever work they can get. And when you're just starting out, take it. As you get older, and maybe I don't have kids, but you might want to have children, or you're buy a dog or buy a car, whatever. You can't do that on $40 a video. It's that fine line between, do you enjoy the work? Because that's worth something for sure. But if you enjoy the work and the money you get from that makes the rest of your life struggle, it's a hard thing to balance. So I'd say go for the work you really enjoy that also pays you really well.
Editing for YouTubers is kind of like the Wild West right now. So what could editors who want to work in the YouTube editing industry do to make more money?
I guess if it's not quality of pay, it's got to be quantity of pay. If you agree to X value per video, the two obvious things you could do is, 1, learn to do your job faster, thereby effectively increasing your hourly rate, and 2, negotiate with them that, okay, I will do this type of content for X amount of money if I get Y number of videos every week or month. Until you know that, you have no way of knowing what your actual monthly income is going to be. Or do this type of thing on the side because you enjoy it, and do other types of video work that actually pays. You're still cutting, you're still doing graphics, you're still doing a sound mix. It's not any different than if you're doing that for a client who actually cares about paying you a livable wage.
I get quite a lot of pushback from people online who say things like, it's just a YouTube video. So what is your reaction to hearing people say things like that?
I've heard that type of thing from corporate clients. Oh, it's just a talking head video, or it's just a, whatever. It's never just a something. It's always the same. You see a Craigslist ad. I need you to drive to Chicago, which is an hour and a half from here, for a corporate video shoot. 4 hours of interviews, B-roll, edited together, a video, and then a promo with music. Pays $250, and it's like, I will drive to Chicago and back for $250. If you can't afford to pay people decently for their work, then you should just do it yourself. Editing an interview is easy, but it takes practice to do well. And someone who can do something well in a short amount of time deserves a lot more money than $40 an hour.
Now, finding great clients as a video editor is always a struggle, especially if you don't have a system to find them in the first place, which is why you need to watch this video next to learn the system that I've been using for years to bring in multiple video editing clients that help me grow my business.